my word. We are back after a sensational semifinals round of the Women's Rugby World Cup. How have we got to this point already?
Okay, so this has been like the fastest piece of time ever. Like every Wednesday, boom, boom, boom. And we're back in to talk about the preview of the Women's World Cup final. So, God, time has flown.
So we were both at both matches.
Yep.
We were at the Canada game where I had you kitted out in some red and white, not too unfamiliar for you colors-wise, but I had the Canadian flag draped over your shoulders with me.
I did.
We were singing the national anthem, shoulder to shoulder, swaying just like the girls on the field. Did I see a tear or two come out of your eye there, Sorky?
Okay, not when the national anthem. There's only so many national anthems I can sing. Let's be honest, but I think the result was actually quite emotive for me. Did I shed one for England? No. I'm owning that. You know, obviously my girlies know that I'm very proud of them and I'm very happy for them to reach that. But there was just something about that whole experience, being at that Canada game, obviously being sat in and amongst the loudest fans I've ever been part of. People say about the French and the Kiwis. Oh no. The Canadians did not stop 20 minutes pre-first whistle, and God only knows how they ended up in Bristol.
Do you understand how I lost my voice at the quarterfinals round?
I mean, it was definitely induced with like a healthy amount of Guinness or beer or something.
A little bit here and there. The Canadian fans know how to turn up. So yeah, luckily back this week with more of a voice. But wow, such an exciting game under the lights. You can't ask for more than that kind of atmosphere. You're right about the Canadian fans. They were going hard. I think one of my teammates, Laetitia Royer, her boyfriend got caught on some TikToks of find a better rugby boyfriend. He's screaming from minute 1 to minute 0. We love scrums. We love lineouts. We love any scenario that's thrown out.
That was her boyfriend.
That was him, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, he was.
At the quarterfinals, I'm like, Life, your voice is bellowing throughout the stadium. Like, there is no way we're missing this. You're projecting so well. So it was so great to just be next to all them. And we were happy to have your company for that game.
And he is exactly the type of guy that Emirates would want shouting about them being the official partner of the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025.
Emirates, an avid supporter of women's rugby, is also a sponsor of the World Rugby Match Officials. Fly better with Emirates.
Let's book a trip.
Okay, so England hosting a home World Cup. I never thought I'd be asking you this question, but are Canada now the favorites at this World Cup? This seems crazy.
Well, whether they're the favourites on pitch, off pitch, probably the most loved nation right now, loved sports team. We've had so much content coming out now, support from many corners of the world, many different backgrounds of actors, male athletes, nations that have just gone, hang on a second. These girls are unbelievable. And it's actually very, very refreshing to see. I have personally always backed Canada, and I'm not that trophy chaser, pun the pun, but I have played with the Canadians alongside Sophie de Goede, and when she came across for her first season at Sara, she's grown into that. Obviously, she's missed out with the season with an ACL injury. Alicia Corrigan, yourself, Julia Schell, and I know what these athletes are, and like you can't help but know that they are so dogged in how they play. They are unrelenting with how competitive they are, so clinical with their attention to detail on everything from their S&C to their want to learn. Like, it's like you guys have been building up for this moment pretty much your whole, you know, since they pretty much entered the Premier 15s and then it's gone into the PWR and so on. There's no reason why these girls shouldn't be competing in a World Cup final. And I don't want to say, I feel like I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. But I just think there is a big fat chance that they could win a World Cup this year.
I think everyone's excited by the energy and the momentum the Canadians have gained throughout their pool. Like, we can sit here and argue who had the harder pool or what type of games, you know, they each had to face. But Canada is building with so much momentum, and I think they are on the right side of that chart right now. Like, they've captured all the momentum. I think they have got better with each game, and they've grown. And I think, like I said in the last week, I think the Australia game and then the semi here, like, those are games that they can really hang their hat on and say, like, things were clicking. And I know we had talked about how maybe frustrated they would have been that the Scotland game was a bit close. In the past, I think that's a game where, we maybe be expecting ourselves to be up by a bit more, but to then kind of rally and get back to the drawing board and come out with those huge performances. Like, I don't think anyone would have guessed that would be the score against the defending champions. I think that's been a huge momentum shift for them to walk into that game and say, no, we feel like favorites in the game against the defending world champions. That's just such a statement to put in the sand. And holy hell, did the girls deliver from minute 1 to... I was talking to some of the girls today. They're like, it went into the 81st, 82nd. Like, this game just needed to end. Like, they had rightfully won it. And they're like, we need to start recovering, like, end this match. And it just went forever in true Canadian all black fashion of, fighting to the death. But wow, crazy. And it is so cool to see the world kind of getting behind them saying, nah, go on. You're away from home, but you've made it a home in this league. And we think you guys have every right to win this tournament. It's just,
Yeah, it felt so comfortable throughout. Like, yes, there were dips in their defence, but how have they not had their spirits so dampened by the fact that Canada started from the first minute and then they're still trying to find a way? And they did find breaks in the Canadian defence, but you just felt you sat comfortably with what Canada were doing the whole time. The forwards fronted up, the backs, they're so quick and so strong that it was like, yep, okay, you can come out this way, but we've got you covered. Like, everyone's doing their job. And it, when you can just watch performances and you just know every unit is doing their job to the best they can, and you just can sit comfortable with that. And I think that's how I felt watching them. I was like, I can't really see the Black Ferns like ruffling too many feathers here. They're just finding every which way to defend the Black Ferns, and I think it was quite a nice watch in that sense.
You just said sit comfortable there, and I'm like, honey, I don't know if I was ever comfortable over the course of that match. When you like have the seat half up and you're just kind of perched on it, and I'm like,
we were standing at the end. We were standing at the end.
I was like, I can't commit to sitting. I can't commit to standing. I'm like perched. I need to be able to like chuck my flag up at the last second at any moment. And wow, what a crazy one. But I think that brings us now to, you just spoke about the style of play that Canada's looking to evoke, embody, bring into this final. What is that going to look like up against England's very structured tactical kicking? We've spoken with Zoe about her process and how that's such a go-to for her, their set piece platform that is so lethal versus Canada that, like you said, has that little Quebecois jouet that we like to bring into things, the offload, the power of those athletes, the tempo that they want to inject into a game. Like, how do we see those two styles clashing and who comes out on top?
Sorry, Quebecois jouet, what were we saying there?
Some of my friends have DM'd me saying, Sarah, we're Canadian. We don't even know what you're talking about. The jouet. So the jouet is like to play like the game, like play what you see. Our coach, Kevin Ray, uses it quite a lot. He has a couple others up his sleeve, but jouet is just like to play what you see, intuitive rugby, chuck the offload, what's in front of you, that style of play. Sorry, I appreciate I've used it many times in the French campaign and talking about the Canadians for 8 weeks now, and some people are like, hello,
okay,
what
you might
am
have
I
made
talking?
some like Duolingo people kind of happy there, so thanks for that extra bit. Who says we're not teaching anyone anything on this thing? No, you are totally right. Like we've mentioned before, speed, power, that's what Canada is definitely embodying within this World Cup. For every other team that has played against England have probably the most sound defensive sets throughout the World Cup. Not much is getting round them, which shows that there's a hell of a lot happening from middle of the park to the edge. And then you do have the likes of Zoe in the backfield that if you do decide to release pressure and push it further up the pitch, she's only going to take you back probably further from where you kicked from. So I think when we're talking about the two styles, England very structured, very, very clinical. That's why they've been so successful for so many years, because when hits the fan, they can resort back to plan A, which is off the edge, forwards do their role, distribute out to the backs. And let's be honest, like without Ellie K on the pitch the other day, would England be in this final? I don't know. So they do have threats all over over the park. If everyone does their job very well and to the best, that's how England get through all of these games, But then, like you said, you're coming against the jouet of Canada, and I just see that the speed that they're playing at, can that disrupt England's defence? Yes, it can, because they're not just doing it with speed and erratic and offloads. It's not just like, it did look in control, but at electric pace. And with those big type 5 that were in there, Sophie de Goede playing about 3 positions in one, anything can happen in that middle of the park. And then it's like, okay, Julia, Schell, okay, let's go Asia, let's go. And who's going to catch them when they're, at full tilt? So people are talking about this very strong structured play of England, but I do think Canada can front up in all those areas that England can excel in as well.
A lot of our girls play in France where it is play what you see, there's space in front of you, kick it, chip it, take that space on, play intuitively. And then also a bunch of us that have taken so many lessons and diligence in how to play in the Prem and play that structured style. And I think those styles have melded and molded really nicely together to create what is this like unstoppable Canadian team at the moment.
And I think when, again, for England, to them, their priority has to be to slow that ruck speed down. Like, it has to be. And they do have the armory to do that. Like, if you looked at Hannah Bottoman putting in shots, slowing ball down, whether she got the 4th turnover or not, whether that was coming.
I was like, are you saying 6? Are you saying 3?
Yeah, what's happening there, Bots? She was just giving it the 3. But rightly so, like, she slowed ball down. She disrupted that. If you are going to try and beat Canada, who are just as strong and skillful, it has to be, right, let's bring this back down to a pace that we can dominate in, which would be, slowing ruck speed down, far more dominant in that area. And we can't let Peltier drift out, have Sophie de Goede on the inside and take those little moments, because we can't keep up with them. Like, you can't keep up with that speed of play.
I think something else I've noticed from this tournament is like the double shots. Like, it can't not happen. You need double shots. And I think New Zealand, they are putting in crazy double shots. They were driving us backwards, like the number of positive tackles. Our girls, I think, eventually got there. But for the start of that game, I was like, that's a huge point of difference in this tournament.
Yep.
Like, are you getting hip to hip with that person? One's going chop, one's going high. Like, that just totally kills momentum and can totally f your ruck if somebody's blasting you backwards. So I think that'll be England's bread and butter. We know Sadia Kabea, the likes of those back row, have, amazing talents at putting people back on their ass. But both teams are going to have to really evoke that and connect with each other to win that battle of the breakdown. I totally agree with you. I think that's going to be huge.
And so that's basically all open play stuff. But when we actually get down to the set piece, like in finals rugby, it's so cliche to say, but it's like you have to build platform. You have to have platform to launch off and allow the likes of, Ellie to be in even more open space and Julia Schell to come through from, a set piece positioning. Both teams were clinical over the weekend. The scrum from England was very good, and there was quite a few scrum penalties. Yes, they were scrummaging against France, who, again, we've spoken in previous weeks, their penalty counts were pretty high against them. But the problem with, if you give an inch to a driving maul for England, they're going to take the mile. And then we talk about Zoe Harrison's boot being in that open field positioning. The boot from Julia Schell and Tessier is not as long as Zoe's. And I saw that in the game, they'd relieve pressure, but it wasn't actually going the distance of what like Zoe Harrison can put through. So again, it's going to be very interesting to see how they play in that open field so that they're not amounting pressure for things like the driving maul of England to be anywhere near their 22. It's somewhere that you don't want to box, and you have to box clever in this. And I just think being clinical with England's maul, everyone talks about it. Oh, it's boring, but it gets them over the whitewash. And like, let's be honest, if you're lifting the trophy at the end and you've scored 6 tries from a driving maul, who cares at that point?
And I think with that as well, I was talking to my sister about it today, like the pack weight is such a point of difference as well. Like, we can't deny that England has some bigger bodies, and if you do that kg difference, like, they will come out on top. And then if we go to how they stop them all, like the Canadians always want to, I think, compete aerially up to the last minute. We back ourselves with Sophie's like basketball hands and arms, and like I said, it's always arms and legs and athletic girls in the second and back row, so they'll probably want to compete up until a point, and then it's just about like sticking in and like not letting yourself get recycled out the side of that, out of that maul. They have the weight, but I think the Canadian girls have that power to stick in, and if they get good positioning, we have some coaches that are, implementing some really good tactical bits for how to defend the maul. And if they stick to their guns in that, I feel like that can be a point of difference for them to keep England out of our end.
And having a point of difference for England has always been like their bench. Like you cannot deny that when you've got Sarah Byrne coming off the bench, or
it's just like yeah,
you're just like,
it gets worse.
We're really tired right now, and you're just unleashing that. That's just a joke, really. And
the prop sprinter that probably has one of the fastest 40s on the team.
Seriously, like could compete within the backs. And the likes of Meg Jones, I'm sorry, her performance against France for me was player of the tournament worthy. She was on turnovers, penalties, scoring that try at the end, just like
off the post.
Like she is such. I think I said it right at the start. She was going to be my player of the tournament, and I still stand by this.
Let's pull that up, because one of us definitely said. I just think she's in form like no other, and she is unlocking so much. She is pulling strings all over the pitch, sitting at the back of pods of forwards, reading play and defending like an absolute demon out there. So, yes, you've got the likes of Meg and co starting but then you've got Helena Rowland coming off the bench, who has been just such a solid... Our versatile queen.
Yeah, literally. Where do you want me? And I'm going to literally be world class at this position. And we've said Sarah Byrne coming off the bench. Kelsey Clifford has been unbelievable this whole tournament, and rightly so, should be, sat on that bench we don't know the teams, but I assume they're going pretty much for what they did for the semis. So a points difference for that being England's super, super strength.
Like we were talking about before we started recording, like Canada has depth as well, maybe not to the same extent, but there are a few positions where, like Tyson Bukaboom, our most capped Canadian, her coming off the bench.
Yeah.
She's an absolute menace. I was talking to her after the Blackburns game, and I'm like, I saw you late hit 17 twice. I see what you did there.
Did she ever? That poor girl.
I was like, are this girl's kidneys okay? Because she got off, I was like, oh. And then it happened again. I'm like, Tyson, you hit the same girl late again.
Poor girl.
You're nothing but consistent.
What's she done to you?
And mean.
From across the waters. Yeah, seriously.
But no, the likes of her, Laetitia Royer, who we said dream team, World Rugby dream team in 2024 season, unfortunate to pick up a shoulder injury against South Africa. So she's probably banked less minutes than we'd expect her to. But I think she's feeling good with some substitutions in these last few games. And hope she can make a mark on the game. But yeah, a lot of the time it will come down to battle of the bench, and I think this game is going to be no different.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, what is your take on the 9 battle in the England camp at the moment? I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say Lucy Packer coming off the bench has made a big mark and arguably fought for that starting jersey. Is it tactical they're taking her as an impact sub? What's your take?
Yeah, she definitely has brought so much energy to the second half of those games. And could she have been brought on a little bit earlier? Yeah, I think so. France they weren't stopping, and I think something that needed to happen was just inject so that the likes of Jess Breach, Ellie Kilgadung could be put into positions maybe a bit quicker than they were, and get to space a lot quicker. And I think Lucy has done that and it has injected that into the game. We're talking about finals rugby. Do stick with somebody that you just know can bark your team around the pitch and get them into the positions that they are. And, having played with Luce at club, Mo is a very dominant character, and Luce is very good at getting her, just putting her head down and getting through her work and pretty much playing people into their positions very quickly and at speed. And her delivery has been very, very good. And it's a very difficult one probably for a coach to go that changing of guard where, Mo has been solidly, an England starter for years. She missed out on the World Cup last time, but she's definitely brought herself. She had an unbelievable season following that World Cup disappointment. And it's that positioning of like, what do you want from your 9 going into a final? Do you want something that you just know is very, very clinical and kind of just knows their way around that pitch? Whereas Luce has definitely been used as a tool for this World Cup in the sense of inject pace, don't faff around, just unleash the girls. And you've seen, especially when they enter like 22 and the forwards are clearly playing a pattern of getting around the corner, trying to beat the fold. And we've seen tries come from that because the delivery has been so much faster. I guess it's a decision that a head coach just wants to almost just like not have to think about on the day. He knows what he's getting with Mo and he knows what he's getting with Luce. To change it up now, that's a big thing from a halfback's point of view. And I think right now it's probably what's working for England's formula at the moment.
So, on to almost the mental side of things, game nerves. England has been to the last 6 Rugby World Cup finals. And how many times have they won?
Once. And I'm sorry, I did not know that stat, because you think England win everything.
Especially since they've been going on about the 32 game streak. They're playing on home soil. It's a home World Cup. It's kind of being touted as they're at their HQ. It's home court advantage. Is it? I feel like all this pressure is just mounting into a pressure cooker for them. Will they, won't they come out on top? Seemed like they had it in the bag last World Cup, only for heartbreak to occur in that literal last play of the game. Where are you thinking their heads are at in terms of the pressure they're feeling?
I think these girls clearly, they've won 32 tests back to back. They know how to win. And I'm sure there would have been so many conversations within the girls that, you know, there's that, are you nervous? You know, not within the girls, but maybe like having read social media, and then they comment, you know, they'll be in their bedrooms at night and they go, oh my God, look, even Lima Sopawanga is tweeting them, or Russell Crowe is tweeting them, or, you know, Shania Twain is definitely backing the Canadians. But what I'm saying is, like, they will have seen this stuff. They're not completely off their phones, let me tell you. So they are going to be seeing this kind of media frenzy, talking within themselves. I think there's something like when you feel like you might be slightly up against it in terms of that side of things, there is a union, or like you will unite with your teammates and go, that we are going after, this is our soil. We're in front of 82,000 in a stadium, let alone the millions that are going to tune in. And why would they want to lose and finish on a 32 win streak? Like they'll have no aim to do that. They have it in their armory to win, clearly. So yes, from a mental side, there might be feedback going to them that's giving that kind of negative connotation, but they know how to win. And when you dig deep into finals rugby like this, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that you make your 33rd win.
Yeah. I'd almost like to be a fly on the wall in like a sports psychology session with them, like talking about that almost like redemption arc of like, do you talk about the elephant in the room that is the last time you were in this position? Do you leave it and park it? Has it been addressed years in the past? Obviously, it's a new team with a new DNA, and you always talk about relishing in those moments of like, us 23 will never be the same group of girls playing in the same way. You know, you have those moments in time, and it might, just be about, you know, this is like turning a new page in our history, and let's continue on this streak and, you know, defend this HQ like it is ours, and not let these Canadians spoil our party as much as they want to. So it'd be so interesting to kind of hear what kind of narrative they're building around this game.
And you also saw like the likes of Ellie K shushing Bourdon and all the other, you know, there's still attitude there. You've got bots throwing up her threes, you know, like people within that unit, they give out winning, and they are, and that doesn't mean just the final score. They want to make sure that they put a penalty against Canada in a scrum. Ellie absolutely wants to do a length of the pitch score, you know, and so there's character within that team. There's no way like Maud Muir is going to want to be run over. She's just as good as putting in those double tackles that, you know, Canada displayed against the Black Ferns. So, and like Zoe Allcroft, I think sometimes has been not a quiet in the background kind of worker. Like she is such a great human being. The girls respect her so much. She will lead that team to win in any which possible way. So yes, like we've said, it would be very interesting to see, like, have those conversations been had. But there is display after display that these girls are in it to win a World Cup final, and God, do they want to win it at Twickenham. We need a prediction.
You know I'm terrible at these. My Canadian girls are coming out on top. Write it down. Put it on the record. I think if they come out like they did against the All Blacks, they'll scare the shit out of England a little bit.
I think they might have already.
Yeah, that's possible. I think that coming out with that style, that fast, suffocating defense is so challenging to defend. Obviously, England is such a tight-knit group. They know how to win, like you've said a few times today. They'll have an answer to it, but I honestly think it'll come down to the speed that Canada's playing, the breakdown, the ability to support each other in and behind the line, and just, being really diligent at set piece. Like you're saying, they have such a well-oiled machine in the scrum, but I think the Canadians will still come out on top. And I'm going to throw out a scoreline that my twin Katie helped me cook up today. I'm going to go 24. I'll go 17 actually for Canada, I think.
Okay, I'm backing the England girls because they know how to win. I've got to say it for my besties that are going to run out there in front of all those fans, all those millions of viewers. And I think it is going to be a very tight game because Canada will not stop. So I think we are talking a 27-19 game. I do think that. So England are going to come out on top because they know how to and they have the support of that stadium behind them. But yeah, it's going to be a bloody tough one for them.
Uncross those arms, lady.
Okay.
I get it.
Oh, yeah.
Nope, fair. I'll give it to you.
Let's pick our Emirates High Flyer of the week, which basically, there were so many people who were flying high this weekend in the semi-finals, and I think we need to really pinpoint some of those key performances. Boda?
I think there's a few that we say their names quite often. Sophie de Goede from the Canadian team, absolutely integral to that win. I think we heard our brother podcast talk, I think it was Dan Vigor saying, how many second rows kick? Yeah. In Canada, actually quite a few. I was talking to my sister about this, and quite a lot of forwards put their hand up to take the boot.
Emma Taylor.
Emma's one. Pendulum leg. Not as many as successful, though, as Sophie, and to have her back in the lineup has been huge. Playing in the second row, I think she's been great. She has all those skills of a back row and is just like a fourth running around the field. So, Sophie, we could sing your praises all day. Not about you today.
And then I've been bashing on about her this whole campaign, but Meg Jones, unbelievable against France again. You can't ignore that one.
Are we thinking she is our front runner for 2025 World Player of the Year, 15s Player of the Year?
I think so. I think you can't actually ignore the fact that what Meg has been through this year as well, you know, losing both parents and then stepping up, and you can just see that her purpose is so much higher now. That's what I see when she plays. It's like there's another level to Meg that has been brought to the pitch, and kudos to her for being outstanding in every bit of play that she's ever involved in now. So she was always that player, but she's just absolutely lit up this world stage, and that's why I think she will get that award, and rightly so if she does.
She's obviously moved on to Ealing, but even watching her last year in a club like Leicester who struggled, she was pulling out those crazy line break moments, setting up one of our Canadians, Claire Gallagher, for amazing plays. Like, she just can thrive in whatever environment she's in, and it just looked like she made it such a fun team to be in. They were never down and out. Like, every time we went, we're like, okay, like, this is probably a team we're going to come out on the other side of 4 points with, but like, they will make it hard. And Meg Jones is somebody you're going to have to watch out for from minute 1 to 80. So well deserved of a nomination. And I think she honestly has that one in the bag. She's come over from sevens and just has made her mark in this game. We can't forget that she's been at previous World Cups in 15s. And it's like, she's making the statement of like, hey, remember me? Well, I'm back. And I'm absolutely smashing this code of rugby. So well done for her.
Justine Peltier. Goodness me. What an idol.
Snap.
She is. I was literally watching like, if only I could move like you. You know, she scored the first try. Key to Canada's quick ruck speed, like 2 seconds, I think people have been spouting out that's how quick they were playing. And she literally was there at every waking moment of ball out. And delivery was so clinical. Like, it was such a clinical watch from a 9, but also so exciting. She was literally into everything. That little falling offload to Sophie de Goede to come through, and I think that kind of put a bit of a nail into their scoreline, and it was her fiance, was there?
Her partner, yeah.
Her partner. Yep. He was like,
Matty,
you better mention her on the Rugby Rodeo because I listen every week and she deserves a shout out. And we were like, you're not wrong. You are so
right.
not wrong.
He's so right. Like, she's just been a mainstay on this team, and she's always the common denominator really between amazing performances the Canadians have had, and she's just, kind of stepping out. I think she had a great quote after the last game of, they've loved to call the Canadians like the dark horses are in the shadows, and she's like, okay, well, we've been grinding in those shadows since 2022, our heartbreak in the semifinal against England to then lose the bronze medal game to France. And she's like, we're now like in the spotlight and we're ready for this moment. And there's no greater player to lead them out than Justine. She's been absolutely incredible. Like you're saying, the difference in that speed of play. She is truly that triple threat. Like if you're a 10-20 around the breakdown, like you are truly in your pants. You don't know what this girl's going to do. And even when you think you've got her, she's giving that offload out the back. She's unreal. And I'm just so happy to hear and see her getting that moment and that moment in the spotlight. She's so humble with, but wow, is it well deserved.
And then EK.
Another mainstay in this discussion.
Yeah. Like without her, would England be in a final? She got 2 breakaway tries, which were just, the level of skill that she has to pick ball up, messy ball as well. You know, Zoe Harrison pinging through a ball, deflects off the French winger's feet. EK is literally there picking it up and then going from literally the left side of the pitch to the right side of the pitch, skimming past like 3 or 4 defenders. No one's getting near her. Like that was just such an unbelievable try, and that was her second one of the day. The first one, she lit up the stadium. Like the sound when she got onto the end of that first try was just like deafening, and without her, would they be there? I don't know.
The way she just swerved through all those players, and she's not just like swerving through casual players, like those are back 3 that you're up against. Like those girls are as fast as you, they can catch you. But the way she turns on a dime and just skates past people, I think I always say that about some of the fastest players in the game. Like they don't run, they're gliding, they're skating, and wow, she made those girls look silly. Respect, but she did. She got through, and wow, yeah, she's always somebody we can name. So I think I speak for both of us when we say that our Emirates High Flyer of the week is Justine Pelletier.
Yes, I'm in agreement there. I am in agreement there. She was instrumental throughout their win, did not stop until God knows when she got pulled off, when she got literally stripped off the pitch. Like, you've done enough now, you can't do any more. And again, they were against a very good Black Ferns team. So well done, Justine.
Her boyfriend, Matty, will be happy to know.
He will be happy. We told you we'd shout her out.
He's also easy to spot in the crowd. So have you ever heard of a Canadian tuxedo? Do you know what that is?
No, but I did see his get up.
Basically, if you're doing any sort of fun themed event in Canada and someone says, wear your Canadian tuxedo, it's just denim on denim.
Oh, that's what it is.
Denim on denim, baby. Shania's done it. Our men do it quite a lot for their jersey presentations. At one point, we just thought it was like a one-time thing. Nope. Every time our Canadian men play, I think it's like custom denim like vests. You guys would call it a gilet. And the jeans. But Matty has a homemade one. I think Justine found someone in France, cut out her jersey, has that like that section of her last name and the 9 on the back, has some like patchwork going on. It's unreal.
It is.
He will be rocking that. So look out for him at the final. He'd be more than happy to give you a Canadian flag and give you a big bear hug.
Or that mask with her face on it. He'll probably dish that out to you as well.
We've got a lot of those as well. Eyes cut out, very demonic. We've got a bunch of Karen because she already has such an intense game face. So find him for your game day Canadian mask. So now we get to talk about our league. For those of us that aren't lucky enough to be
not
at
good enough.
This tournament. Whatever.
We're not good enough to be in the World Cup.
One day. So we get to catch up around the PWR and the Cup round. And we've talked about her a few times today. I've leafed it into a few of our convos. It's not Julia Schell. We are lucky to invite my identical twin sister, Katie, on the pod. Woo-hoo! And we're going to get her to chat a bit about our playing so we don't have to ingratiate ourselves with questions about our own league.
Yes, congratulations for joining us, Katie.
Give us a spin.
So we've been playing this whole time throughout the World Cup. The PWR Cup has continued playing throughout. We've had like week on, week off type fixtures. Harlequins have been playing. We had Exeter to start with, who we beat, Ealing, who we beat, and then we actually played Gloucester, to which Katie actually joined us. Boda has had her whole family fly over. to celebrate the World Cup and obviously just see her sister, their family, see Sara Svoboda shining bright in that gorgeous pink Quins jersey.
Oh, yes.
I think a lot of us
yes,
are very much on board with this.
I have to say, Swordsy, I was a little disappointed. I got my nails queued up. I don't know if you can see that. I did lose one to a door, but I was teasing all week.
Katie versus doors in the UK.
Truly.
Push means pull, pull means push. Left side, right side.
I had this vision for these nails. I said I'm going to get every nail a little bit different. I got Quinn's color, and I touch down. Sara goes, Katie, I hate to tell you, we're in the pink kit. So all for nothing.
We love the energy though. Like more Quins players could do that, let alone twins of a Quins player that lives in Canada. Like we're look at this. Like,
she's ready to gouge the eyes out.
Yeah.
I think my nail tech was confused. I have a little keychain Sara bought me for Christmas of the Quins jersey. And I was a little sick at the time I was getting my nails done. I'm like, I don't care what you do, just use these colors. And he just could not find the right color of green. And I'm like, I am near death, but find that Kelly green for me, sir.
I did remind her that a lot of males suffer from red-green color blindness.
I did forget that.
So to show him some more empathy, perhaps, moving forward.
Yeah.
Teachable moment.
Anyways, no, it's been great being here. I've heard so much about Swordsy. I feel like I've known you. I feel like you're the third.
Well,
you're a triplet at this point.
I'll take a triplet. I'm definitely the shortest stumpier of the two, but we'll go with that.
We stole all the nutrients.
Yeah. Clearly.
No, but it's awesome. I guess Sara reminded me that Sara's been here for 6 years, and that was the first Quins game I've seen you play in. I saw Sara play for Loughborough a few years back. Our family came over at Christmas, but Sara was unfortunate with injuries, so it was awesome to catch a great game at Gloucester Hartbury. Yeah. Amazing field, day for it, as they say over here. Yeah. Me and my dad were crushing pints, enjoying the day.
You were having a great time.
I posted some pictures and I said, ooh, I think I have a pint in my hand in every picture of the carousel. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. But anyways, ladies, obviously that's the only game I got to see so far of the cup rounds. But how have the Quins been getting on? I know you're on to Bristol at the Stoop, but what's been the feel around the club?
I'd say it's been pretty, like we've built a really good energy at the moment. Obviously we were on a 3-win streak, which is always a very good place to be. We've had some tough competition, like Exeter, despite the scoreline, like it was pretty close at half. Were we not losing at half time?
Of which game?
The Exeter game.
We were. Yeah, it was
losing.
like 24...
29 or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
Something. Yeah, and Ross basically was like, do you care to hit a breakdown or two? And I remember Lengy getting us in. She was captain at the time, and she's like, that's, if that's not a wake up call for us to kick it into third gear, like what else is going to motivate you? That's like such a non-talent action. And I think you're right, Swordsy. Like that was kind of a point of difference for us being down at half.
And then we had Ealing Trailfinders who beat who was it? Gloucester the week before. Yeah, they trounced Gloucester the week before.
We had both put on like 60 points on our opposite. So we're like, this will be a good battle of high try scoring teams.
And then, we pulled that one, together. It was quite back and forth for a little bit throughout the middle section. And then towards the end, we definitely got back in control. And then the game against Gloucester was that a game of two halves? Oh my God.
Okay, at halftime I was like, I can relax. I can go get another beer.
What do they call it? Like fags out. Like let's have a break now. But it was not, because
the goose egg on a scoreboard is a dangerous feeling. When you see that, you can't let it give you that false sense of security at all.
So we were 36-0 up at halftime.
36-0, I believe. Yep.
And then that word capitulated just comes to mind. It was like we couldn't string. Well, I don't remember making a pass in the second half. I don't remember making a pass.
As someone who flew 8 hours to see it, I'm honestly happy with the competition. At half, I'm like, is this the PWR? Yeah. We're going to have a goose egg on the other side? So, personally, I was happy to see a competition. I know Captain Bodo was not.
Bodo was unfortunate enough to wear the first yellow card that we had in the second half. And what I'm saying there is like, Bodo will put her body on the line and some, and then as a collective, we were being a freaking nightmare on the pitch, and no one wanted to. Well, Bodo had to have a word with me and say, Swordsy, can you just shut up and stop talking to the ref? But he was driving me mad.
Like that, honey.
Okay, there was no F word, but the intent was there. And there was plenty of pens, and then Bodo just got on the wrong side of that. So, and then we had another yellow card, and then anyway, We did win, despite this slightly negative narrative. We did win in the end. And I think sometimes you do need that, especially when you're nilling somebody at halftime.
Yeah, we made it out. Wasn't pretty, but I honestly think you kind of need those gut check games as you're going into knockout rugby to really test what you're all about. And I think the girls showed that they're willing to get their heads stuck in when the work needs to be done. But yeah, little squeaky bum times at times.
So, Captain Voda, I have to ask, first time as captain, first time getting a try as a captain as well for the Harlequins. How did that change your approach to the game going in as captain?
I think I honestly tried to not let it do that. I think I had some really great advice given to me and around me from Langi Tuima, our captain, before she suffered an injury, and Ross, our head coach, of like, don't change who you are. Don't think you need to like put this like mask on of like what a captain looks and feels and sounds like lead by example, do what you do day in, day out that kind of makes you the competitor that you are. And I think I tried to, stay as genuine and authentic to my style as I could. Obviously not ideal to take a card and fall for the team there, but no, it was just, a really exciting opportunity, especially after the season I had last year where I only got 2 games properly into the season and then had to watch from the sidelines. I think I was just like so energized to run out there and be like, you know what, I'm going to be like the energy injector around this pitch. Yes, I'll go do all the captain-y things, have those conversations with the ref and deliver the messages nicely to Swordsy to pipe down when she needs to. But no, it was so much fun. And I think I said in one of the circles, like, girls, you've been so easy to lead these past few weeks because you've been willing to put your bodies and hearts on the line. And it was just, such a great game and a great like test for me to learn like where my kind of like blind spots are as a captain and what I'll need to do moving into knockout rugby. But learned from you though, Kat. You were a great captain at the university level.
Oh, thank you.
She's led us many times before back in Canada. So yeah, cool to reflect and have some conversations with you where I was like, help, what do I do?
Yeah.
And some great advice from you across the pond before you came over.
Yeah, I remember you coming up to Dad and I and saying, what do I do? How do I be a captain? And me and Dad just kind of looked at each other and we're like, just do everything you've been doing up into this point. And I had the pleasure of meeting Langi Tuima on the sideline as well. And she said, it wasn't a second thought nominating Sara as captain while I'm out. She just leads by example. And even going to your yellow card, like, it gets the girls going, especially when you weren't on the winning side of that second half. A yellow card might be the fire under the ass that the rest of your team needed to kind of get going. So I was a big fan. As someone who's
I don't agree.
As someone who's had her share of yellows and reds, sometimes you need it.
Oh, yikes.
Okay, so it's shout-outs time. And I'm actually really happy to be shouting this one out because there's a few golden girls who definitely were under the Saracens umbrella with Rocky Clark and her gang. And she calls them the Golden Girls for good reason. Amy Garnett, absolute England legend. Tam Taylor and Scotland's Donna Kennedy all have over 100 caps for their countries. I'm sorry, that's a crazy achievement. So very much got the title of Golden Girls. And they have just finished a 750-mile leg-burning, bum-aching challenge for cycling around the Women's Rugby World Cup venues.
And they've taken on that amazing feat of cycling from Sunderland to Twickenham. So huge congrats, amazing effort. And they've done all this to raise money for MND and specifically the 4ED charity. So if you want to help support them, text 70560 4ED.
Okay, and then we have the Littlehampton Lionesses.
Cute
Great name. They had their first ever league game against Horsham Seconds the other day, and they won 59-15.
Let's go,
Goodness,
girls.
What a scoreline. Coach Jess from Dorking Women's Team has been in touch to say they are absolutely smashing it and need a shout out for all they've been doing. So keep it up, ladies.
And finally, the Fullerian ladies, the Furies, who absolutely smashed their first game of the season, winning 34-10.
Well, next week, we will know who the heck is the best team in the world, crowned World Cup champions.
Queens, if you will.
Will it be the Red Roses or will it be Canada? We're freaking excited to find that one out. So nurse your hangovers with the follow-up podcast that I'm sure will come from this. But for now,
Yeehaw!